Ghost of Tsushima's PC port is coming up rather quickly, which I'm okay with because I'm pretty excited to dive into this one. And I'm clearly not the only one looking forward to this PC port, because in full defiance of the whole PC gamers don't buy games argument, Ghost of Tsushima hit the Steam top 5 immediately upon going on sale. And frankly, I'm torn on that, because on one hand, way to fight the stereotypes, lads, but on the other hand, stop pre-ordering games, you absolute goof nuggets. But it was recently confirmed that the PC version of Ghost of Tsushima will bring with it some features that PC gamers have been discussing as a possibility for quite some time now, namely crossplay with the PS5 version for the multiplayer, PlayStation Trophy support, which is cool, and a PlayStation overlay similar to Xbox's PC overlay. That'll show you your PSN profile, your trophy progress, and other social features. So if you were still somehow holding out hope that PlayStation wasn't actually working towards a full pivot to first-party multi-platforms, hopefully this kills all your dreams. Day and date is coming, be ready for it. In all seriousness, this is a really good move on Sony's part because it makes the PC experience feel more complete, and I know a lot of people are going to love having more trophies to hunt for and challenges to complete, and being able to get both Steam achievements and PSN trophies is a really cool move. But also, with the confirmation that Sony is starting to take their expansion to the PC more seriously by adding features like this, the same people who praise every single thing that Sony does are now trying to argue that this money-making strategy is actually a bad thing, because it means people who didn't buy an overpriced plastic box with the PlayStation logo on it will still get to play the PlayStation games, which, you know, is a good thing. It's good for the gamers because it means you have more options as a consumer, and also these games will be more properly preserved, and it's good for Sony because now they're going to make money off of people who are never going to buy their console in the first place. But your feelings are hurt because you want everyone to buy a PlayStation for some reason. Naturally, the announcement that Sony is doing cool things on the PC made a bunch of PlayStation fanboys really upset, and today we're going to make fun of them like we make fun of them all the time, so grab a bevy and a snack and let's have some chuckles together. At Shadowbroke75 says, PC ports have been a failure and have been hurting the sales of PS5. You've now released several games in a row on PC and the sales have been paltry. Uncharted, Last of Us, Sackboy, Returnal, and Horizon Forbidden West all failed on PC. Why keep pushing this failure? Wait, so are PC ports a failure, or are they hurting the PS5? Because if no one was buying the PC ports, why would they be hurting the sales of the PS5? You literally cannot have both of these things at once. Either PC ports are failures that nobody buys, or they're successful enough to be hurting the sales of the PS5. These two things literally cannot coexist, and yet you said them both simultaneously. Also, I'd like to present a big fat lol at you mentioning Horizon Forbidden West in this list of PC failures when, as many of you know, it actually sold quite well on the PC despite being cracked less than 30 seconds after launch. And as for Returnal and Sackboy, the PlayStation community didn't really buy those games much either, or are we not supposed to talk about that? Like, Returnal and Sackboy are two of the lowest selling PlayStation Studios games on the PS5, but suddenly we're supposed to see it as a big red flag when they don't sell that much on PC either? Also, you mentioned Last of Us here as a failure on the PC, but you forget that that game launched completely broken. You really think the PC port of Sony's biggest franchise wouldn't have sold tremendously if the launch wasn't completely botched? The fact that a franchise as powerful as The Last of Us underperformed is a testament as to how much more respect PC gamers have for their wallets than console gamers generally do, and you bet your ass that Sony is going to remember that going forward. But you know what PlayStation PC games you don't mention here? Helldivers 2, which sold over half of its total copies on the PC. Spider-Man, which sold 1.5 million copies on PC despite coming out 4 years after the PS4 launch. You also don't mention Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War 2018, both of which sold excellently on PC despite, again, having extremely delayed launches. But then again, you're also the same person who said PlayStation games on PC are simultaneously flopping and also replacing the PlayStation console. So I really don't know what I'm doing trying to explain this to you. At Emirus17 says, looks like y'all are about to drop support for the console. No they're not? Adding integration between the PC and the PS5 is not a sign of dropping the PS5, it's a sign of expanding it. It's a way to extend an olive branch to the PC gamers who were never going to buy a PlayStation console to begin with. It's a way for Sony to say, hey, PC gamers, we know you aren't going to buy a PS5, but what if we made our games more appealing to you over here with some new features and whatnot? It's a great strategy for Sony's profit margins and an excellent thing for gamers around the world who now have access to a piece of art but didn't want to drop $400 or more on a PlayStation console. And it also means these games won't be locked to hardware that will deteriorate over time and basically put a hard cap on how long the software can actually be preserved for. PC games never expire, console games kinda do. Like, how many games from the first 3 PlayStations do you have access to on the PS5? Cause on the PC, we have access to basically all of them. Beating the emulation crowd and just porting your game to the PC properly is a really smart move on Sony's part because everything's headed in that direction regardless. Angel quote tweets the news that PlayStation trophies are going to PC and says, PlayStation fanboy logic, Sony put PlayStation games on PC so they can attract new customers for PS5. Meanwhile at PlayStation, which is, yeah, true. But then he gets quote tweeted by Tripster, who has been getting himself into all kinds of stupid salt feuds recently, and Tripster says, PC cuck logic, Sony put PlayStation games on PC to attract new customers. Reality, Sony put place games on PC so PC cucks can fund future PS5 console exclusives. Man, that sure would be a zinger if you didn't immediately get caught in 4K because less than 2 weeks earlier, you were stating that PC cucks don't buy games. Yeah, you really do have to pick a narrative here, because either PC gamers don't buy games and funding PC endeavors for the PlayStation brand is a waste of money, or the additional revenue the PC will generate for you is a good thing. Like, again, you literally cannot hold both of these opinions at the same time. You literally cannot. And yet, you claim to hold both of these opinions within 2 weeks of each other. Maybe you had an amazing change of heart. I kind of doubt it. Let's move on. Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code Joe for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better, so go to Glitch Energy and use code Joe for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. David Zander says, y'all really want to kill PlayStation to prop up a dying platform like PC. Right, the PC platform is dying, which is why there's over 1.8 billion PC gamers worldwide, and why Phil Spencer was recently just openly talking about the fact that the console market has grown stagnant while the PC market is growing at a very healthy rate. Right, Sony accommodating the PC market is a move being made to prop up that side of the industry and not ride along its success. Right. Right, yes, right, correct. That's how this works, yes. Monkey D Donut writes a short story about how hurt his feelings are in response to the news that PlayStation trophies are coming to PC. He says, how about we just drop support for PlayStation since you love PC so much? Cheaper games, first-party titles, no mandatory subscription to play online, no locked system, full support for DualSense, just to name a few. No one in their right senses should buy a console. Not even Microsoft does this nonsense, but Sony actually favoring PC players over their own PlayStation players. You literally put PlayStation players at a serious disadvantage for buying your own hardware. I like the bit in here about how, ooh, Microsoft doesn't even do this. Bro, Microsoft has been day and date with their first-party games for quite some time now. In fact, Microsoft even launched a first-party game a few years ago early on the PC. Like, remember Gears Tactics? That was only available on the PC for a while before it even came to Xbox. And Xbox has a whole PC app for their first-party games and everything on the PC Game Pass. It has achievement support. It has full Xbox profile integration. But now that PlayStation is putting some of its first-party games on PC retroactively and putting some of the PSN features on the PC, now, suddenly, Sony is even worse than Microsoft, and they're somehow going even further than Microsoft ever did with the PC. Genuinely, how do you hold this opinion? How are you this out of the loop and this wrong about something you chose to talk publicly about? This makes no sense, and yet here it is, without any irony. Jesus. Trexo quote tweets PlayStation UK and says, did you lay off the team that implemented this? Because PlayStation fans love the PlayStation so much that they want to fire the people making PlayStation games more accessible. You are an asshole. JVCR responds to the news about PlayStation trophies, and he says, that's actually pretty great. The next step is a PSN store with crossplay on PC. Would be awesome if my games owned on the PS5 could be playable on PC too. Ahmed K responds, nah, I doubt it. Less revenue and PlayStation games are top quality, so no need to incentivize players. So, less revenue by putting the game on more platforms, which is just... I mean, literally, how do you even justify that? That literally makes no sense. Less revenue by having it on more platforms, that alone makes no sense. But also, PlayStation games are top quality and incentivize players to go get PlayStations, which is clearly why Sony now feels the need to not require people to get PlayStations. Interesting. Also, you think PlayStation games are top quality, but shouldn't be enhanced with better hardware on the PC, or modding capabilities on the PC, or better future-proofing on the PC. Like, jeez, like, I hereby decree, I hereby demand that you change your profile picture. So you're not being a fucking moron while making a Seinfeld reference. Like, seriously, change your profile picture. You're actively hurting Seinfeld's reputation by being like this. Someone named Chris also responds to JVCR and says, you wish, fatty. Okay, moving on. At Silas Style says, making the console and PSN obsolete one game at a time. Short-term gain for a long-term loss. Good job, thumbs up. You know, I can't help but notice that PlayStation has been putting their games on the PC for literal years now, and yet they still exist. I also couldn't help but notice that Microsoft released a whole-ass console a few years ago, with everyone knowing going in that every single first-party game would be going to PC on day and date, and yet they've sold almost 30 million of those fuckers. In before, oh, but Joe, the Xbox Series is underperforming. Yeah, that's not because of the PC. That's because of the Xbox One and how hard the Xbox One fucked Microsoft's reputation. The point I'm making is that if exclusive games were truly the only thing that mattered to how well a console sold, the Xbox Series wouldn't have sold anything, while the GameCube and the Wii U would have sold gangbusters. But as you probably noticed, dear viewer, none of those things happened. Exclusive games are not what make or break a console. The console itself does that. I have 10 million videos already touching on this topic, so I'll keep this relatively brief. But if the consumer doesn't want to buy your overpriced plastic box, they're not going to do it. And if they don't buy the box, they'll never buy your exclusive game. Sony can easily continue selling a bunch of PlayStation consoles by continuing to appeal to the people who liked that plastic box and continuing to get people to like the plastic box over the other plastic box on the market. But they can do all of those things while simultaneously making money off of the people who were never going to buy the plastic box because they already have a gaming PC, or they were planning on getting a gaming PC. Xbox and PlayStation compete with one another. The PC is in its own realm, with its own market. Putting games on the PC does not damage the PlayStation's reputation because it's a net positive in literally every way. You're making money off the people who were never going to buy your console, you're making money off the people who did buy your console and are now double dipping with the PC version, and if you end up losing a potential console customer, but that console customer you lost also plays on the PC, congratulations, you're still making money off of that person even though they're not giving you money for your console anymore. PlayStation benefits in literally every single way by expanding to the PC. If you still don't understand this, I don't think you ever will. David Carcassol says, finally, a reason to play games on PC. Because PlayStation trophies are the only reason to play games on PC. I genuinely don't understand how people can look at the gaming industry this narrowly. It's so strange. It's like if it doesn't have a PlayStation logo on it, you genuinely don't care about it. But then you claim to be gamers and not just corporate wannabes. Like, it's so strange. But just to close this out, I'll throw the PlayStation dudes a bone. You know, a little reward if you're a PlayStation dude and you actually watch the video all the way through, because we're going to close this video with perhaps the dumbest take of the day, which was actually from an Xbox dude. At Marius PS Banner quote tweets the news of PlayStation trophies going to PC and says, today PlayStation decided to kill the PlayStation console. Love it. But then you click on his profile and his pinned tweet is a promotional image of upcoming Xbox games and says, bro, just buy an Xbox. Stop waiting. So, You say PlayStation just destroyed its own brand because it's putting games on the PC. But your literal pinned tweet, your big reason to buy a console, is for games that are going to be on PC day one. People used to at least try with bait, you know? They used to put some thought into it. Okay, in conclusion, I'm really excited for this game to come to PC. Not because I've just been itching to play Ghost of Tsushima the way God intended, you know, with a frame rate above 60. But I'm also excited to see how Sony actually handles all these ideas in motion. You know, how many of the PlayStation games on PC are getting trophy support? Do the trophies sync with Steam achievements, or do you have to earn them separately? Like, I assume when I boot up Ghost of Tsushima next month, I'll be earning Steam achievements and PSN trophies at the same time, but what about the past PlayStation games that are on Steam already, like Spider-Man? I have almost all the Steam achievements for that game. Will that automatically unlock the trophies for Spider-Man once it gets trophy support on PC? Or will this be a reason for me to go back and earn those trophies a second time? Which, honestly, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I've been having a blast going through PC Game Pass and racking up all the Xbox achievements for games that I had previously played on Steam. I'm currently replaying Wolfenstein The New Order and popping off all the Xbox achievements. It's really fun. And earlier this year, I perfected Brotato on Game Pass for no other reason than I perfected it on Steam, and that was fun, and I wanted to do it a second time. And basically everything I've said in the last minute is completely irrelevant to the video. I just kind of wanted to show off my Brotato obsession again and, you know, assert my dominance before the DLC comes out. I'm really hoping you'll have the option to disable the PlayStation overlay just in case it sucks or it hurts performance and like, I'm sure that will be an option because why wouldn't that be an option? But then again, Sony has done some really stupid things with interfaces and back-end technical stuff like that. But then again, I also have trust that Nixxes would have thought of that before launch and accounted for it. Or maybe they won't and everything will be a bunch of sucky nonsense that I get to yell about in a future video. Whatever happens, just remember this. PlayStation fanboys don't actually play games. Okay, toodles.